Today, we're using techniques and flavors from different cuisines to build a rich and savory oxtail stew. This is Oxtail Chilli-Wat. We start with the oxtail. What we want to achieve is to first render out most of the fat for later use. Then we brown and caramelize to develop meaty flavors and nutty complexity. Given the uneven shape, we enlist the help of the oven. To prevent sticking initially, help with even heat distribution, and of course, to pay homage to the chili queens, we rub with a generous amount of lard. This will also give us some buttery richness. We're in essence winning at the starting line. But of course, you can also use any high smoke point neutral oil for this. (220) oven, 40 minutes, flipping once. Now we strain the fat and set aside this beauty. Now the chili con carne influence, we have two types of dry chilies today. Ancho for that deep raisin-like sweetness and dark chocolate-like bitterness. Árbol for some sharp heat and brightness. The recipe is just a guideline. Use any combination you fancy. You want one that provides flavor, complexity and body. An optional one for sharp heat. Stems and most seeds removed to have more control over bitterness. We bring in some heat to toast. A, to get the essential oils going, giving us more flavors, and B, if we get lucky, a light Maillard reaction on the surface, giving us even more complexity and a hint of smokiness. Once you can smell the raisin and you're starting to get a bit of a cough, stove off, hot water in. We soak to soften, about 30 minutes. Our chili's been softened, but what do we have here? The soaking liquid, our chili dashi, if I may, has taken on this beautiful, deep orange color. But more importantly, it has also taken on a lot of the water-soluble flavors. If you were to taste it now, you'll get a lot of fruity notes, quite a bit of spiciness, and a hint of bitterness. Perfect to balance the rich stew we're about to build. So we save the liquid. Now we make our chili paste. Pestle mortar. We squeeze out the excess dashi, and we go. The grinding motion would break down the cell walls, releasing even more flavors from our chilies. Here we have our spiced dark chocolate and raisin paste. Now we build our wat. What makes the Ethiopian wat method so special is that we sweat our shallots without a drop of fat. Sounds like a small difference, but it changes two things fundamentally. One, once the heat starts to release the moisture and the moisture starts to evaporate without fat, the oniony taste, which is water-soluble, has nothing to cling on to and has no choice but to escape with the moisture, leaving us mostly with the natural sweetness of the shallots. Two, without the fat, protecting the shallots and slowing down moisture release, they break down much more thoroughly into a very, very fibrous paste, not dissimilar to fruit jam, you see. Traditionally, you would use Ethiopian red onions, which behaves much closer to supermarket shallots than supermarket red onions. And you would do this at very, very low heat. Today, we cheat a bit with the help of our chili dashi. We bring this closer to medium-high heat to rapidly evaporate the water content, concentrating the flavors of the shallots. And we gradually develop complex flavors through the Maillard reaction, nutty, roasted notes through caramelization. The moment the bottom starts to catch, we'll deglass with our liquid, mopping up all the caramel and saving us 20 minutes of manual labor. You see, thin layer of caramel, chili dashi. Now, what we have here is essentially caramel and a very, very complex web of fibers, much like the pounded garlic in an aioli before the addition of olive oil. To this, we add our oxtail fat and lard mixture. Traditionally, this is done with spice butter, and here we're forming an emulsion between the fat and the fibers, dispersing all the beautiful flavors, and later on, thickening our stew. And you make this as rich as you like. Now, to balance the intense richness, a bit of grated ginger for some zesty freshness, crushed garlic for some raw pungency to get us ready for the next wave. Just 30 seconds to keep the freshness. Now, another wave. Our raisin-chocolate chili paste goes in to impart its fat-soluble flavors. The heat, the color, the smoky note. We cook it out to evaporate the water content, further concentrating its flavors and rounding the raw edge. Now, to further enhance the meatiness, star anise goes in. Yes, to impart their fat-soluble flavors. But today, we're not looking for the aniseed note. Star anise, beef fat, and shallots will make the oxtail even beefier, if that's possible. Now, to counter this unstoppable meatiness, we have some optional spices. Coriander, common in Indian cooking for the citrusy freshness and floral note. Sichuan peppercorn, equally citrusy in its own right, and with the long cooking time, it'll provide a lot of peppery complexity and none of the numbness you normally associate with Sichuan peppercorn. They go in. Again, the recipe is just a guideline. Use whatever spices you fancy. The objective is to provide a lift. So for example, I wouldn't use cinnamon. That would turn this into a dessert. Black peppercorn, mainly for some earthy note. Now, you might have noticed we have not salted anything yet, because here we have fish sauce, salty, umami rich, with a distinct marine funk, which with long cooking will disappear just like the oniony taste. What we'll be left with is salt and a ton of umami, so they go in now. Overall, we're aiming for 1.2% salt of the weight of our oxtail. With the fish sauce, it works out to about 5%. We deglass the pot and start our liquid emulsion. You smell the funk now. In 3 hours, it'll be nowhere to be found. To balance such an umami bomb, red wine vinegar for acidity. Unlike citrus juice, the acidity in vinegar is extremely heat stable. This way, we balance our dish from the beginning, allowing it to penetrate deeply into our rich oxtail. And the cooking will also round the harshness of the vinegar. Now our other star of the show, the oxtail, goes back in. We cover slightly more than half with water. Bring this back to a boil. The onion paste might catch in the beginning, so moderate. Give it a few stirs. Lid on, and we simmer until off the bone tender, about 3 hours. Now, look at that. The already thick sauce is thickened further by the gelatine released by the oxtail. You really have all the flavors here. Give it a taste, and you can take it whichever direction you want. You want a bit of funk? Add a bit of fish sauce now. A bit of numb, a fresh round of Sichuan peppercorn. If you want that sweet, sour, spicy profile, add a bit of honey or sugar. I personally like to add a ton of coriander and a round of lime juice for some sharp, citrusy freshness. Oh, just look at that. Look at this texture. No starch, no roux. And this is the beauty of mixing flavors and techniques.